Hey, hello, hi everybody. Let me tell you about Inktober. Inktober is a tradition amongst willing artists during October to draw a picture using ink every day of the month. Traditionally, it's just done using ink, but that's more of a guideline than an actual rule these days. Some people color in their images, some people do their drawings digitally. It's really more about going out of your comfort zone, giving yourself a challenge. As I am primarily a digital artist, I decided that I would do Inktober traditionally, using ink and paper. Using the official Inktober prompt list, I decided that I would interpret every prompt as a Fakemon. I mean, you knew that, presumably reading the title of the video before clicking on it, unless this is autoplayed for you, in which case, yeah, I'm on autoplay, cool, I'm suggested, haha, I'm not. In this video, I'll be showing you each creature I came up with, but also show my creative process when approaching each one. Let us begin. Also, that first bit was scripted, the rest of it isn't scripted, I'm just gonna be talking out my ass. Now, when I heard ring, things that came to my mind were a diamond ring, a telephone, because they ring, Saturn, because it has rings, a tree stump, because trees have rings in them, a whale, because I think it's the loudest creature on Earth, and you know, loud noises make your ears ring, and kind of like a lenticular cloud circle nuke tree thing. I don't even know what that was. What I ended up making was kind of a cosmic planet whale, so I kind of combined a whale and Saturn. This thing could be psychic type, it could be water, it could be sound, it could be cosmic. Let's go crazy with our fake types today. If you don't like fake types, you're not gonna like this video, sorry. If you guys can think of any names for any of these guys, do leave suggestions below, I'd love to hear them. If I could improve this guy, I guess I'd make it look more like Wailord, you know? A Gigantamax form. If you're Gigantamaxing the biggest Pokemon, it probably would look like a planet. Also, haven't looked at the Sword and Shield leaks, so if Gigantamax Wailord is a thing, do not at me, please. Upon hearing Mindless, I thought of the mindless ones from Marvel. Brainless, a robot, a sheep, because, you know, wake up sheeple. Cordyceps, the fungus from The Last of Us, but that actually does exist in real life. It takes over ants and insects. It's actually kind of terrifying. And then I kind of thought of a mushroom sheep, where it had mushrooms instead of wool. So my final product was a mechanical Cordyceps sheep. This thing could be steel type, it could be grass, it could be normal, it could be fungal. Oh! You could probably call this thing something like Cordasheep. You know, robots have cords, Cordyceps, sheep, easy. To improve it, I guess I'd make the mushrooms look a bit more mushroomy, and I'd make it look a lot more robotic. When I hear bait, I thought of spider webs, I thought of a worm with a hook for fishing, I thought of an internet troll, you know, they bait people. Then I thought about specific things like a frog fisherman, a fish that actually was bait itself, an anglerfish with a pokeball instead of a light, a troll with a hook hand. But the final product was a troll with hook fingers. This thing could be normal type, it could be poison, it could be dark. And with this I see huge missed potential. Yeah, it's a troll, makes sense, but the club is just a club. So what I would change is I would make the club look like a fish or fish skeleton, just adding to the theme of like bait and, you know, fishing. My initial ideas were fridge freezer, ice cube, freeze frame, loading screen, a clock, a snowflake, and then the galloping horse. For people who don't know, that is how film was invented. Somebody wanted to show that when a horse is running, all of its legs will lift off the ground. So what they did is they took a bunch of photos of a horse, and then they realized if they put them in sequence, it would actually make the motion of a horse running. Fun fact. I also thought of rigor mortis. What I ended up actually doing was creating an undead floating freeze horse. This thing would be ice and ghost, no question. I think he's pretty cool as it is. Haha, cool! Haha, get it frozen! My initial ideas were like a crane and kind of a building site, a brick wall, muscular, you know, because you get built. Then I kind of made this guy with a wrecking ball, but then I figured a wrecking ball is more for destruction instead of building. So my final product is a built boy who is built to be built and build. Try saying that 10 times fast. His types would probably be rock and fighting. His name could just be like brick, I suppose. If this guy were to become an actual Pokemon, I think you just have to make it a bit more wall-like. You know, very flat. Those arms seem kind of three-dimensional. Just make it clearly 2D. Well, you know, it's technically 3D, but you know, the edge of a brick is really small. You know what I'm saying. Things that came to my mind were an insect husk, a husky like the dog, buff, because, you know, a big husky man. I ended up combining all three of those ideas into a husky husk, so the leftover skin of a buff bug dog. Yeah, this thing is inspired by Shedinja, but whatever. Like Shedinja, it would probably be bug and ghost. If I were to improve it, I guess you could emphasize the bugginess, you know, make it kind of thinner, give it more limbs maybe, you know, 4 arms. That's scary. This one was kind of weird to me because enchant is such a vague but broad term. So initially I kind of thought of a witch, and then I turned it into a cat, and then I was thinking of the lapis lazuli from Minecraft because that's you enchant items. Thought of spell casting, a woodland fairy, enchanted items as in items that are like brought to life. So from all that I kind of created an enchanted mechanical fairy moth thing. This thing could be psychic type, fairy type, light type, steel type, flying type. I think it's cool, but it's really random. So I think to improve it, just find like a clearer basis. When I hear frail, I think of weak. I thought of like a cracked pot, skeleton, glass, heartbreak. So then I made a stained glass heartbroken skeleton. His ribs are a broken heart. Whoa! This thing could be rock type, ice type, normal type, or glass. I think this guy's pretty good. I think he'd really shine in 3D where you can kind of see through him, and he's completely 2D, like he's as thin as glass. But if he gets hit, wouldn't he break? Oh god. When I hear swing, I think of swing sets, swinging objects, swing dance, and swingers. Fun fact, the symbol for swingers is pampas grass, and I also took inspiration from Tangela's original evolution. So my final product is a swinging swinger. It could be grass and sound type. And I think to improve this thing, just make it a bit less human, you know? We don't actually want like a swinger in Pokemon. We don't need a dancing plant waifu, you know? My initial ideas for this were just like a checkered pattern, a walk cycle. Then I kind of looked into nature, like animal patterns, and I came up with like a Rorschach zebra, and then like a rainbow cheetah with colored spots, and when it ran, it would streak, kind of like when you take a picture with long exposure with lights. And then I thought of a tiger, and then I decided to make it black with orange stripes, but change all the stripes colors, so it's a pretty damn cool looking tiger. This thing could be light type, it could be dark type. It could be called Prismera, Tigrism, or Luminine. If I had to improve it, I could say play up the colors, but sometimes less is more. Maybe this guy's perfect as is. So my initial ideas were snow cloud being snowed in, snow shovel, snowman, snow golem, snow plow. What I made was a snow plow snow golem. So the actual Pokemon is the snow plow underneath, and it piles up all the snow and dirt on itself to form a big scary looking dude. Its types could be ice, ground, rock, or steel. Could be called Splowman, kind of sounds like a surname. John Splowman. And I guess if I had to improve it, I could make the design of the snowman and the snowplow kind of more consistent with each other. You know, make the snowplow white to make the snow a bit smoother. You know, just stuff like that. Initial ideas were a dragon. Wow, and dragon fruit. So what I made was a dragon fruit dragon. This thing could be dragon type. How many times do I have to say dragon? Oh my god. It could be grass. It could also be flying. If I were to improve this thing, I would just change the proportions slightly, give it a shorter body, bigger wings. You know, I think that could look really cool. When I hear ash, I thought of an ashtray, volcanic ash clouds, campfires, an ash tree, a tree on fire. So what I made was an ashy ash tree. This thing could be fire and grass. And I guess to improve it, all I would have to do is refine the design, make it more slender, you know, look like a tree, not like a big walking monolith. Make the leaves look more autumnal. They resemble flames, they are not flames themselves. The initial ideas I had were kind of overgrown brush, a planet-sized beanstalk, Jormungandr, the snake from Norse mythology. So what I made was a Jormungandr beanstalk, because Jormungandr is the world serpent. I literally made a planet serpent. That's pretty epic. This thing could be grass type, dragon type, psychic. As for potential names, the first one I thought of was just Jack, because Jack and the Beanstalk. But one that was suggested was Jormundo, combination of Jormungandr and Mundo, which is Spanish for world. What would I improve about this thing? Nothing. Now with Pokemon, when you hear legend, you think of legendary Pokemon, and I wanted to kind of go against that norm. So what I thought of was kind of the legend of a map. So I thought of like a map man, cartography equipment, stuff used for making maps. So what I ended up making was a map legend spider thing. This thing could be psychic, bug, ground, grass, normal. It's kind of odd. I guess to improve it, I could add more parts maybe, but also make them blend together easier. Use kind of the map lines as a web, I guess. Like it plans out routes and stuff, but in a web pattern. I don't know. Whatever, man. First things I thought of were an untamed savanna, a wild dog, and a crazy dog. So what I ended up making was a wild wolf. This thing could be electric type, fighting type, maybe even normal. Probably improve this guy by just tidying up the fur a little bit. Like, keep it wild, but just make it a bit tidier. Make it a bit cleaner. First thing that came to my mind were like a jar, an urn, a statuette, diamond necklace, a church altar, Christmas ornaments, Halloween decorations, and then kind of walking around in October and seeing places gear up for Christmas. I just kind of got mad and I came up with kind of a Halloween themed Christmas ornament, you know, combining the two holidays, because why not? Everybody's doing it already. This thing could be dark, ghost, ice, grass, or steel. I guess I could improve this by making it slightly more Christmassy. It's a bauble, but you know, it's just a Halloween with, so make it a bit more Christmassy. Maybe give it Christmas colors, add sparkles, you know, anything. Things I think of when I hear Misfit are ruffians, being awkward, puzzles. So what I ended up making was a puzzle bug. This thing could be psychic, bug, grass, or normal. Its name could be Puzzled, or Puzziled, don't know how that's pronounced. And I guess to improve this thing, I could just, maybe its body actually has an image on it instead of just two colors. I don't know, could look cool. The initial ideas I had were a stag beetle slingshot, and a lynx slingshot. Only reason I thought of a lynx slingshot is because its name would be Slinks. What I ended up actually doing was making a sniper chameleon with a big sling tongue. Don't know where that came from. The design of its arms also kind of resembles slings for when you have a broken arm. Very subtle though, a bit too subtle. This thing could be dragon, psychic, fighting, or normal. I guess to improve it, you know, you could give it a smaller body, bigger tongue, you know. There's no reason its body should be that big. It's kind of detracting away from its primary weapon. I don't know. I've seen people misread this as thread. No, it's tread. What I thought of when I heard tread was to tread lightly, but also treads on a tire. So then I got the concept of like an armadillo, but it's a tire. And then I looked up animals that also curl up. Found the armadillo lizard. Thought that would look cool as a tire. But then I thought of piggies, or woodlouse. Why do we call them piggies? I don't know. What about these things as pigs? So I ended up making a tire woodlouse with tires. This thing could be bug, steel, ground, or rubber. Haha, fake types coming at you again. Never gonna stop! This thing's name could be Treadlouse. You know, tread and woodlouse. Easy. And I guess to improve it, I just make it obviously more a louse. Clean up the design a bit. When it curls up, it turns into a wheel. I guess kind of make that a bit more obvious in its design. But otherwise it's pretty good. My initial ideas were obviously a treasure chest, but also a treasure hunter. So a hunter, but they use like gems and stuff, and their armor is made out of treasure chests, you know, something like that. I got really unmotivated this day, so my final product was just a mimic chest, which Pokemon doesn't have, but I guess Voltorb would be the mimic chest of the Pokemon world. Anyway, this thing could be grass type, steel type, ghost type. What I'd improve about this is I'd make the chest more mouth-like and make the handles more handy. Make it literally a big mouth that eats treasure. Maybe give it a body too. I don't know. A lot of potential here though. My initial ideas were just a traditional ghost, then kind of Halloween sheet ghosts, and then ghost bats. So I ended up making a sheet ghost bat. This thing would be ghost flying, and to improve it, I guess, maybe give it glowy interior eyes, you know, like Duskull maybe? So the first thing I thought of when I heard the word ancient was just a really old wrinkly man. Yeah. Then I got to Googling and I think I looked up the oldest living organism on Earth and then kind of the first organism on Earth. So I think those were Pando, which is a group of trees, and a comb jelly. And I ended up combining those into this thing. It could be water, grass, poison. It could live in the ocean, or it could also live in forests, disguising itself as trees. To improve it, I think I would just change its mouth and make it look slightly more tree-like, you know, so it can blend in easier. My initial ideas for this were like a syringe Pokemon, but with no blood in its head, you know, like when you stand up and all the blood rushes out of your head, you get dizzy. And a spinning top, because, you know, they spin dizzy. What I actually ended up making was a spinning top syringe gentleman. This thing could be normal type, it could be steel type, it could be blood type, and its potential names could be Syringe or Spyringe. Blood type and Spyringe are provided to me by Neck Punch. He makes Fakemon. Go look at his stuff. He's really cool. What would I improve about this thing? Absolutely nothing. When I think tasty, the initial ideas that came to mind were like sweet food, like dessert. But then I figured every Pokemon that's food-based so far was kind of sweet-based already. So then I was thinking savory, and I was thinking of pasta. And then I thought like Fusilli looks like horns, so I made a pasta minotaur, but I wasn't feeling that. And then I remember Pastafarianism, the religion which worships the flying spaghetti monster. So I made a flying pasta dragon. This thing could be dragon type, flying type, or even fire type. Love this thing. What would I improve? Absolutely nothing. My initial ideas were a clown, a Wendigo, and negative light. So I made a negative Wendigo. This thing was a total blast to draw. Potential types, there's only one, it's dark. This thing could be called maybe like Wendigative or Negatigo, I don't know. What would I improve though? Nothing. My initial ideas were kind of glowing eyes and a wolf skin, very similar to Wolfman from the Gold and Silver beta, so then I changed it. And I was thinking kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but then I figured, what about a sheep in wolf's clothing? That's what I did. So it's a sheep, but its wool looks like a wolf. This thing could be normal, fighting, or dark, because, you know, it's deceiving you. Its name could be De-sheeping, combination of deceiving and sheep. And to improve it, I guess I just make it a bit cleaner. You know, play up the wolf a bit more. Maybe it could have different colored wool in different areas. For like, it could have white wool for the teeth and the claws. Just something like that. Upon hearing this, I had an idea immediately. It's an old, unused fire starter that I designed years ago. And it's a Goat Ram motorbike. This thing would be fire steel, and its name could be Goaterbike, which is what I originally had it called, but it's more of a ram skull, so people have suggested Rambler or Motor Ram. What would I change? Not a darn thing. But I only had one idea for this as well, a reused concept of an old mon that I made for a friend based off a crash test dummy. So the final product is a crash test dummy that is smiling through the pain. This can be normal type, fighting type, steel type, or rubber. To improve it, I think I'd make it a bit more squat, less human-like, make the limbs a bit more seamless, less joints. It's kind of bordering on creepy right now. We have to make it more friendly looking, I suppose. What I thought of this, I thought of like a hooked tail for catching fish, then a dog. Dogs catch things, policemen because they catch criminals, a goalie catches balls, a river catchman, catch-22, a police dog, a dog goalie, and what I ended up making was a goalie police dog. This thing could be normal fairy. This one's the third most popular. I guess people just like having balls in their mouth. Maybe I could have a different assortment of items in its gob. I like him though, he's pretty cool. When I hear ripe, I think of bananas, avocados. Then I thought of like an avocado, but it's actually an oyster. And I was considering doing one of the redesigns I've planned for a future Fakemon review, but I don't want to spoil it, so then I moved away from it. Ugh. So what I ended up making was an avocado sarcophagus with a mummy inside that has banana bandages. This thing could be grass, steel, rock, because avocados have stones, ghost, because it's a sarcophagus, fairy, because it's food. This thing could be called Avanado, Bandages, Banandage, I don't know. To improve this guy, I guess I just make it more thematically concise. It's kind of all over the place, you know. Pick a theme, stick with it. Yeah. Wow, I've never reviewed 31 Fakemon directly in a row. This audio file is half an hour long and I'm gonna have to cut it down quite a bit. Just wanted to do this as it's just past Inktober and I didn't want to wait until like December. I hope to have one more Fakemon review out before the end of the year. Anyone who watches the Paint Lock and Loot Block, they will be coming back, okay? Just bear with me. So stay subscribed, don't unsubscribe for no reason. I'm not clogging up your subscription box. Anyways, if you guys want to look at these guys in more detail, you can follow me on my DeviantArt, under Deadbedspread, my Twitter, under Deadbedspread, and my new Instagram, under Deadbedspread. See ya! I still don't know how to say goodbye. Will I just walk away? Will I just be like, okay, bye, I'm going away now, can you still hear me? I don't know. I'm all the way over here now. I'm leaving. Go home. Stop it. Oh, I'm coming back now. I went on a long journey. I went shopping. Hey, Mom, I got some eggs and milk. Let's combine them. Let's get fucking jacked. Haha!